Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Eth. So, taking on a fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening because we're taking a look at Mega Man The Sequel Wars, made by a bunch of awesome modders, taking Mega Man 4, 5, and 6, or at least at this point 4, and turning it into a Sega Genesis project very similar to the Wily Wars. Now, this has been out for a little bit over a year now, but the reason I'm talking about it is I heard a little birdie say you might be playing some more of this very soon, like possibly there might be an update in the next month or so we'll have to wait and see. Before I get too far involved, though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel something and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But the Sequel Wars is an absolutely amazing project, taking Mega Man 4, 5, and 6 and modernizing it to 16-bit graphics the same way that the Wily Wars did with the other games. And anything Mega Man related is always a fan favorite, and honestly, Mega Man 4, 5, 6 in the Sequel Wars is now my preferred way to play the game. I love all the quality of life improvements, kind of giving you a little bit easier of a go of it if you want it to. And with the revamped 16-bit graphics, it just absolutely looks outstanding. And of course, this is just Mega Man 4, so it is the same amazing game that everyone knows, loves, and remembers from the NES original. It's got so much charm, and so much of the visuals have translated over so well to the Sega Genesis. It really is fun to see what this could look like had it just come out like 4 or 5 years later on more powerful hardware. And the best part is you get a ton of different features, including save files and other quality of life improvements. Like I said, Mega Man 5 and Mega Man 6 are not here yet, but I'm assuming you're going to be playing those relatively soon, at least part 5, which is going to be exciting to get some more content on this game. But again, I love these sort of fan projects. I've been showcasing them more on the channel. If you have any recommendations for new ones, leave them down below. But this is just one of the best works in my opinion. Taking something like Mega Man 4 and fully revamping it while keeping the gameplay and the charm intact is no easy feat, but the modders that did this did an absolutely epic job. All of the bosses are here, they have that 16-bit graphical style, but it is still the same game, so if you know how to play the original, you're going to be totally fine here. And I love the fire effects in the background as well, using some of the Sega Genesis trickery to really move around the screen and look about as close to real fire as you could get on a 16-bit console with Sega on the front. And I think that's what impresses me the most about this entire project is just how good it actually looks. This feels like something Capcom would have done back in the day. The art style and everything else just 100% matches. And with the quality of life improvements and the rearranged soundtrack, you just have an absolutely awesome Mega Man experience. So if you've never played this game before, I can't recommend it enough because the entirety of Mega Man 4 is here, and hopefully 5 will be coming very shortly, maybe even 6, you never know what they have planned. As you get into another stage, these are the type of projects that are just so much fun to showcase, kind of like the MSU1 ports over to Super Nintendo that have been happening recently. A lot of you guys comment saying you wish that the graphics had been revamped, so something like the Sequel Wars totally does that for you. This is when you talk about wanting those new 16-bit graphics. It's a project that provided those and did such a good job seamlessly blending that 16-bit aesthetic to the 8-bit gameplay. And you'll see here I also have double jump enabled, and when you start the game you're going to get the following menu. It's going to give you different difficulties as well as abilities to modify the game to your taste. If you want double jump on, if you want infinite lives, very useful for capture, you can turn this on right here, even infinite ammo, so you can kind of craft the Mega Man experience you want. And that double jump is very useful in certain spots as well, collecting some off the beaten path power-ups. And that's the great thing about Mega Man. It's always felt like a super light Metroidvania, only in the way that there's hidden areas where you can get new power-ups, and it kind of makes me wonder what a Mega Man Metroidvania would really be like. I know we got the Mega Man games that were RPGs, but honestly, I would love to see something like Legacy 3 brought back out and given that Metroidvania treatment. I think it could be a lot of fun, but you leave me a comment down below and tell me if I'm just crazy for saying that. But of course, with any sort of port or remake of games, the difficulty needs to be there, the gameplay needs to be there, the control responsiveness needs to be there, and it just needs to feel like Mega Man. And this game is a 10 out of 10 in all of those respects. When you die, and you will die, it is Mega Man. It's going to be because you didn't read the situation correctly, not because the mod did anything wrong in that respect. And you add an absolutely amazing soundtrack to the mix, and you have a recipe for one of the best Sega Genesis fan games ever made in my opinion. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, I'll come back and tell you more about the project. Sounds absolutely amazing in that 16-bit sound quality coming out of the Sega Genesis. And speaking of which, you can play this game however you want. You can use software emulation, you can use real hardware with a flash cart, and you can play it on MiSTer FPGA as well. The only wrong way to play the Sequel Wars is to not play it in the first place, because if you're a Mega Man fan, even casually, and you haven't played this one yet, I can't recommend it enough. And I love all of the different level layouts and aesthetics in this game, as far as the overall charm of actually firing on those fireflies and making the screen go black. Obviously that's a Capcom thing and not a remake thing, but it still works so well. These grasshoppers jumping around, there's so many different mechanics in Mega Man 4 and obviously 5 and 6 hopefully coming soon, that there really is so much meat on the bone here for you to play around with and enjoy. And while I do love the NES and the aesthetic, I only started playing games towards the tail end of the Nintendo itself, so seeing something in a 16-bit aesthetic more reminds me of nostalgia that I have for these games, even if they didn't exist back in the day. Now, if you grew up with the NES, you played the Mega Man games there, it might not do it for you as much as it does for me, but again, I was at the tail end of the NES lifespan when I really started playing games as a kid, so the 16-bit era is more the look and feel that I remember fondly. So this to me is like catnip to my cat. It just has everything I want, and there is so much challenge in this game as well, making the screen dark, executing your jumps properly. It all feels so incredible, and the best part is, at least here on MiSTer FPGA and real hardware, the latency is perfection. I definitely recommend maybe trying this one out on a CRT just to see how it looks, because the graphics definitely do really well on an old tube television, but the responsiveness in the controls for a fan-made game is exactly what you would expect if Capcom themselves did it, and in a fast switch game like Mega Man, you absolutely have to have that control responsiveness. If this remake had made any of the controls laggy, you would start dying on jumps time after time, and that would make a huge difference, not in a positive way, to your overall experience. And of course, like any Mega Man game, you get all of the boss's weapons when you defeat them, and there is a good versus bad route, quote unquote, to go through the game, because you want to pick up the right boss weapons so you can go to another boss that's weak to that particular weapon and give yourself an easier time, or you can play it in the complete wrong order and give yourself more of a challenge. It really is up to you. I'm going to give you one more quick taste of the soundtrack, because the next track I love in particular, and I'll come back and talk about how you can still cheese the boss in these games, because honestly that was the thing back in the day, finding out the patterns and using them against the boss. But enjoy this next bit of soundtrack because I love it, along with the aesthetic of the graphics here, and I'll be right back. The music, the sound effects, this rain effect here that is affecting the physics of Mega Man's jump all just work so well together. And I think my favorite part about projects like this is they are technically needless. When I say that, I don't mean I don't appreciate them, I absolutely love them, but you had Mega Man 4, 5, and 6 on the NES, so it wasn't like these games didn't exist in some way, shape, or form. But I love that fans go in and just decide, hey, the Wily Wars was an awesome experience, I wish they had done that with Mega Man 4, 5, and 6, maybe we can do it. And then they absolutely hit a home run with the first game, and I highly anticipate Mega Man 5 is going to be as good once it hits the update for the Sequel Wars, and that is just fun. Gamers are giving new life to properties. They're doing things that companies really don't anymore. I mean, I know every once in a while we do get a new Mega Man property, but this is the type of thing where I wish we kind of saw a new Mega Man experience in some way, shape, or form every couple of years, but it's just one of those things. Capcom, remember, the franchise exists, but they don't do as much with it as I think people would love. So you have modders and fans come in, they do these amazing things, they do them for free, and you get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. And again, just like any other Capcom Mega Man game, you can absolutely cheese the boss if you can just get the pattern going right. So hopefully soon we will see at least Mega Man 5 added to the Sequel Wars, and hopefully 6 after that, because this is definitely something I want the full experience on. But whether you use real hardware, FPGA, or software emulation, you can go play this today. I will leave a link to the developer's Twitter, and you'll see there they have been previewing some of Mega Man 5 as well. But short of that, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have other recommendations on other fan games I haven't talked about yet, leave them down below because this has been fun to make. Share that. I'll see you guys next time. The boss is dead. Bye bye.